Taped from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, a show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out about Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
And I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
John Trumbull, how are you, sir? Your voice sounds so crisp and clear today.
Well, I'm coming to you from in the studio today, so...
Hey now, all right.
Why.
Oh, very nice.
Having technical difficulties at home, so I had to haul it over here.
Right. Haul it over to HQ.
Over to HQ, where all the magic happens.
Right. Nerds, SNL Nerd Central. I hear you.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
Not bad. Living a life, chasing a dream. Trying to stay warm in these chilly times, in these January winter times.
Yes. We're supposed to get hit with another storm of some kind tonight.
Oof.
I don't think it's too bad. Yeah, about 9.
Oh, that sucks. I didn't know that. Wow. All right. Well,
I don't think it's supposed to be very much of anything, so don't worry.
Okay.
I don't even know why I brought it up.
Okay. You're saying it's fake news, fake weather news.
Yes, it's fake weather news.
Great. The liberal media wants you to believe in snow and all these blizzards. It's just not true, people. It's just not true.
That's right.
That's right.
So we got SNL happening this week.
We do. Holy moly. We got ourselves a hot one today because, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about this week's episode, musical guest Maneskin, which I just found out how you pronounce it.
Right.
And the guest, ladies and gentlemen, it's the one, the only, Mr. Orville Willis Forte the Fourth, a.k.a. Will Forte.
Wow, we went with his full name. Okay.
Put his government out there.
This is for those of you who might be listening to this late, this is season 47, episode 11, air date January 22nd, 2022.
Yoo-hoo.
Or 2022, if you're more informal like. So, yeah, this was exciting. We had Will Forte coming back, and the first time hosting.
Yeah. This first time hosting, first time up to bat. I think you probably saw it too, where one of the people we follow, I believe Mike Murray, who's friend of the podcast, and he also works on the SNL Network's podcast. Like, he mentioned this cool stat about now that Will Forte has hosted, pretty much every cast member from season 42 has hosted SNL at least once now. And like, if you go back and look at it, with the exception of two people, with the exception of Darrell Hammond, who's now the announcer on the show.
Yeah.
And of course, Kenan Thompson, who is still a cast member on the show.
Yep. He's that barnacle sticking to the ship there.
He ain't going nowhere.
He's yeah.
But aside from that, every cast member from season 32 has hosted SNL once. Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader, Sandberg, Forte now, Rudolph, Poehler, Armisen, Sudeikis, Myers, all in season 32, all have hosted.
Well, okay. So I guess Lauren likes that season.
Pretty impressive. I mean, you could make the argument that, is this the greatest, most talented cast SNL's ever had, or you could say it's up there. You could make that argument.
You could. I'm not going to, but yeah, you could.
Ooh, all right. Oh, hot takes.
That cast is just not my personal favorite.
Okay, but it's a strong cast. You got to give it that.
It's a strong cast. Yes, definitely.
All right.
Talented people. I'm always happy to see them come back.
All right, fair enough. And Will Forte actually makes mention of all the people I just mentioned in his monologue, which we'll get to in a minute.
Mm-hmm. But first, I guess we'll just dive in. We have the cold open. We have the Ingram Angle cold open, as it is billed on the YouTubes, with McKinnon returning as Laura Ingraham, Fox News host Laura Ingraham.
Yes, and I mean, this is basically, I don't know. I mean, these cold opens now, they're kind of by the numbers. This is pretty basic, where they just kind of recap everything that happened in the past week and touch on a little bit everything.
Here's a
Um,
bunch of vaguely notable news stories from the week. How can we tie them all together in 7 minutes?
excuse me, sir. This was 8 minutes long. So,
Oh, good lord. Okay.
um,
So yeah,
yeah,
she's talking about we've completed year one of Biden's presidency, and because she's a Fox News host, she's arguing that it was a total disaster. She has re-edited footage from Jen Psaki. Uh, am I pronouncing that right? Probably not. Am I going to go back and correct it? No, also probably not.
leave it in there. People like the flaws. It gives it authenticity.
That's right. That's right. We're keeping it real, son.
Yeah, homie.
Uh, I like the line where she says we're dealing with the sudden loss of America's dad, Robert Durst. Uh,
Yeah, that was a nice little. That was good.
yeah, and we got a little Morgan Wallen jab um,
we
at like the
get
Fox
that.
guest.
Yeah, they toss in a little jab about the green M&M and that whole thing. That's not even really a big to do. I don't think. I haven't heard too many people clamor in an uproar over the green M&M, but I guess it's a thing. Maybe
The
online.
only people I've seen really talking about it are just talking about how stupid it is, and I've also seen a few people saying that it's something that Eminem Mars did as a distraction because there are charges of child slavery. Um, and I don't know what's going on there. I haven't really investigated that story. I don't know if it's an Oompa Loompa type of thing or what. But yeah,
Hmm.
if, Eminem Mars, if you're doing child slavery, stop. That's not good.
No, no, it's not good. I'm gonna
I'm
go
going
on
to take a
out on a
stand
limb and say,
now and say I'm against child slavery. Darren, undecided, but John Trouble,
well,
against child slavery.
hold on. Let's not put that out there.
Oh no,
Let's not put that.
you said before we started recording. For me, the jury is still out on child slavery, and I was like,
Look.
"Wow, that is quite a stance. Are you sure you want to say that?" And you said, "Yes, I'm going to say that, and I don't care who knows it." And I was like, "Oh well, okay."
I'm just
I mean,
saying we need to hear both sides of the story.
okay, yeah. So, but me, 100% against the child slavery.
Okay. All right. Fine. You just won't hear the other side of it. That's fine. Way to
Yeah.
way to be open minded, man.
Yep. Yep. So anyway, let's see. We also had A.D. Bryant returning as Ted Cruz. Of course, they get in a line about the beard. And Ted Cruz, I can't believe this is an actual thing. Ted Cruz apologized to Tucker Carlson because he called the January 6th rioters terrorists. That is the thing
That
that
actually
had to happen.
happened.
That, yeah.
Oh God. What? This is how the world works now.
Yeah, I did like how periodically throughout this sketch, Kate McKinnon's Laura Ingraham was giving the only sponsors that she has left, and they're horrible things like COVID negs, like COVID tests that give like a negative result even if you're positive. Uh,
Yeah. Those are nice little jabs, quick jabs, in here and there.
yeah, and like flower poison. You know, do you ever see a nice bed of flowers and wish I wish they were dead? Flower poison.
Ooh, what a great product.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Is '80s Ted Cruz still doing it for you? I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, my basic thought is unchanged. I think it's all right. I feel like it's the impression that Ted Cruz deserves.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's a great impression, but yeah, I don't know if Ted Cruz deserves a great impression, and I don't know if he has a whole lot of mannerisms you can hook an impression on real easily. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do like a Ted Cruz and I'm be like, oh yes, that's it, you're nailing him.
That's you've gotten it. You've got it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about the '80 Brian Ted Cruz impression. I mean, at first it was kind of cool because like it was a thing where they did it because they knew that if when they had women impersonating the men, it would be like a way to really stick it to them. But now it's kind
Yeah.
of part of me feels like it's kind of run its course a little bit. You
Hmm.
make fun of the beard, and I mean, although they had some good jabs in there about like how uh, Ted Cruz's beard, much like is like January 6th. It was shocking at first, but sadly it's been normalized, which is
Yeah.
a nice little joke. But I don't know. I think 80 Bryant's Ted Cruz is getting like diminishing returns for me.
Yeah. That's fair. But to play devil's advocate, Ted Cruz also diminishing returns for
Yeah. Oh, he never gave me returns.
Yeah, no, I mean he just somehow he keeps finding a new bottom.
Yeah. Hey now. Ooh.
No, not like that. Um, we also had Pete Davidson popping up as Novak uh,
Djokovic.
Djokovic. Yeah, let's say that. Who was the tennis star who was deported from Australia for refusing to get vaccinated and apparently lying about it. So,
Mm.
yeah. Uh, Ego popped up as Candace Owens, talking about the voting rights bill, which was unfortunately shut down.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And she was quoting Martin Luther King out of context. You know,
Yeah. Because
uh,
Martin Luther King said, "I have a dream," and that's all he said.
that's all he ever said. And like on his gravestone, it was like, "Hey, racism's no longer a problem."
We did it.
Yay!
And at the end of the sketch, we got the cold open kid himself, Mr. James Austin Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
as Mr. Trump there.
Donald Trump again doing the Wordle thing. They've done this before, right?
Before it was like a 10 second or 10 minute countdown thing, and
Oh,
then they did it was as a word find.
oh, okay. This was so close to. I mean, because Wordle is the big trend now. So
Right.
yeah, they just went through Trump's sort of word salad and free association, and he goes from Boost to John Mayer to How I Met Your Father to Jason Momoa, who just announced his divorce from Lisa Bonet or separation, I forget which,
Hmm.
to Prada. I forget how he got to Prada, and then finally to Trump because everything's all about him.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate that they kind of spaced it out because from the last time he did this, because I think it's been a couple of weeks or so since they last did it, but it's still the same kind of thing they're doing. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, it's the same thing except with Wordle now instead of the find a word or the countdown. Like
Have you
I
gotten into the Wordle? I tried it once and I was like, oh, is that it? Okay. And I
yeah,
haven't done it since.
I've tried it a couple times. My wife loves it. My wife's she's big into like word puzzle games. Like
Yeah. Huh?
she'll play Boggle with you for hours. Like
Well,
it's
not with me, but with someone.
not yeah. I did, yeah, but yeah. So she's really into Boggle, Wordle, Scrabble, any of the old games. Basically,
Sure.
that's her wheelhouse.
You gotta love the old games. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like I have done the Wordle. I get it. It's like it's a cute game. It is fun. It is cool that like it's the same word for everyone. So it's a way to sort of connect people to see, oh, how many guesses did it take you to get it? How many? It's a way to sort of create a little community and whatnot. It's a
Oh, my
fun little game.
friend is not smart. Wow. I thought my friend was smarter than that, but no. They are dumb.
My buddy's a dum dum. Look at
Yeah.
that.
So
Yeah,
uh
but I
yeah.
like it. I like it
So
enough.
okay, well did you like the cold open? What did you think of the cold open?
Um, I thought it was okay. I mean, I feel like I've said this before about a lot of cold opens like this, where it seems like they're just kind of retreading the same old, tried and true,
Yeah.
where they just kind of smash a bunch of things together about things that happen. They put in Ego as a Candace Owens thing, and I mean that I don't want to say it felt forced, but it seemed like kind of unnecessary to have her in there to just do her little talking points about Martin Luther King.
Well,
Uh,
I feel like the cold opens, much like the monologues had like the last few years, that the cold opens have gotten very formulaic, where it's just
Yes.
like we're going to do all the big political stories, bum 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 bum, and we're going to tie them together tenuously. And I'd rather they just did something on like a big story of the week and just went in depth on that and not and didn't try to hit every single point, because that's what updates for in my mind.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree with you there.
Yeah,
Yeah, the cold open I thought was okay, but yeah, it felt very formulaic and
yeah,
very I've seen this before. It didn't
and
really
yeah, and it's not that it wasn't well done. I thought Kate's Laura Ingraham was great. I liked certain line. Like I said, I liked the periodic sponsor thing. I liked her saying like, "Okay, you're going to talk, and I'm just going to stare into the camera." Like, uh, what did she say? Like a dog who just saw a
like a
steak.
steak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that was good. I mean, Kate always has very well observed impressions, and I think this was another one of those. But yeah, I'd rather just it focused more on one thing.
Yeah, but even that part where it says where you said Laura Ingraham is like, I'm gonna look at you like a dog looking at a steak. That's already been done before too. When Alex Moffat did his Tucker Carlson, and he says, "All right, you keep talking, and I'll look at you confused like a dog showing a card trick or whatever he said." Like that's
Mhm.
kind of even that's been kind of done before. But so that's what I mean. Like it was all right. It is they're all well written jokes, but a lot of it is like I've kind of seen this before. They're kind of rehashing old stuff and
Yeah,
it's all right, but it ain't wowing me.
I mean, I think this season they've revitalized the monologues pretty well, and they've kind of broken away from the old formulas. I'd like to see them do that with the cold opens now.
Uh,
Um,
so I 100% agree with you.
yeah, I'd like to see a little more variety in the cold opens and just a little less of the formula. So, and
Cosign.
we got some new head writers. So Streeter, help us out here.
Get on the street.
Yeah. All right.
Come on,
So
street.
we got the Will Forte monologue. What do we think of the Will Forte monologue? He came out. He monologued up a storm.
Monologue.
Yeah.
Monologue. I thought it was good. Like, yeah, I really kind of dug it. Like, he came out, very poised, and of course, he went into the same thing we just talked about. How, a lot of the people he started out with and was on the show with have hosted or already. Like you talk
Mhm.
about, yeah. When I was so happy when I saw Kristen host, and I was so happy when I saw Bill host, and then I saw Kristen host the second time, and I was like, all right. And then Seth Meyers hosted. I'm like, did that even count? He did Weekend Update. He wasn't an actor. Was he really on the show? And
Yeah.
then, you mentioned that John Mulaney was a writer when he was on the show, and John Mulaney has hosted 4 times.
Yes.
So it was I did get a kick out of that. How he was like, kind of saying like, "Oh no, I'm not mad. I guess it's fine. You saved the best for last, or in
Hmm.
this case, you saved the best for way last."
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I thought that was a good angle for his monologue. And we of course have Kristen Wiig come in. She makes a little surprise cameo behind him, and that of course the audience goes nuts for Kristen Wiig when she shows up, and he says, I don't love that she got more applause than I did when I came out.
Yeah,
That was nice.
that was fun. Yeah, they had like a nice little back and forth where she came
Mhm.
out, and then immediately, as soon as she came out, Will Forte wants her to go.
Yeah, yeah, and she's like, "No, really? I flew in for this," and she. The joke is she flew in from North Korea,
Yeah,
which that's just a nice random
yeah.
gag that I really liked.
I
Um,
did. I liked the yeah, and I also like Forte's response to that, where she says, "Well, I flew in for this," and he was like, "Oh, good. So then you know where the airport is."
right, right. I liked how the band started to play him off, just kind of continuing the thread of him not getting any respect. And then the kicker was Lauren comes on to say that there's been a mistake and they meant to have Willem Dafoe host this week, and Willem Dafoe is standing right next to Lauren.
Yeah, I did not expect him to be there.
Yeah.
That was a surprise.
And he's like, Will, do you really think I'd have someone named Will host one week and then someone named Willem host the next week? No, I was texting Willem and, autocorrect. So,
Yeah, so like I mean I dug this. I mean because I think as we said before on last week's episode, like Will Forte was never like the popular kid during his tenure on SNL. He was always, kind of in the shadows of Kristen and Hader and Sudeikis and whatnot. He was like always kind of like the weirdo outsider. And even in his like after in his career after SNL, he's always kind of been like sort of a niche thing. Like
Yeah, it's an acquired taste.
yeah, like even like the movies he did, like Brother Solomon or like The Last Man on Earth. Like they're all things that had their audience, but they were never mainstream. I think the most like mainstream thing he ever did was probably Nebraska, that film, that Alexander Payne film. But like he was always not quite like the dude in the spotlight. So for him to sort of play on, to him to sort of know about that, acknowledge that about him, and sort of play on it and have fun with it, I got a
Mm-hmm.
kick out of.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good monologue. According to the Reddit thread, the monologue was written by Colin Jost and Jake Nordwind. So good job, guys.
Good job, guys.
Good job. You get a gold star.
Yeah,
Um,
A+.
so for our first sketch, not too surprisingly, we have MacGruber. Um,
Cuba.
these I believe are all together on YouTube. It's but as MacGruber did back in the day, it's like three short sketches weaved in throughout the show. So should we talk about them all at once?
Yeah, let's do it all at once because I mean they're on YouTube all as one big clump. So let's just do
Right,
it that
they're
way.
on YouTube as MacGruber coronavirus, which is a great thing to center a MacGruber sketch around. Um, And Will Forte even got one of his old MacGruber writers back for this. It's Will Forte, John Solomon, and Yorma Taccone. So one of the
Lonely Island.
Lonely Island. I don't know why Lonely Island was not sticking in my head, but yeah, one of the Lonely Island guys came back. So that's cool.
Yeah, far out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically at the beginning of the sketch, it's the same as every other MacGruber sketch. Kristen Wiig and Ryan Phillippe coming in for a surprise cameo,
From
and
the movie
MacGruber.
and the currently running TV show.
Yes, Ryan Phillippe is on MacGruber, available now on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're all stuck in a room together. They have a few
Mm-hmm.
seconds to
Yeah.
defuse a bomb. Of course, they're all wearing face masks because of Corona. And yeah, and then I think at one point MacGruber's trying to defuse a bomb, telling him to hand over things to help him defuse the bombs. Then he says, "Give me your face mask, quick! There's no time to explain."
Mm-hmm.
And he sets the face mask on fire and saying,
Right.
"Oh, now we can finally breathe without these."
Yeah, and we find out that MacGruber is an anti-vaxxer, which it so fits. It so fits because I mean, MacGruber, he can be counted on to just pretty much always do the most idiotic thing possible. So,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And he's like, I don't want the government putting a tracking device in my scrotum.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I like the play where he's saying like, I'm definitely anti-Semitic, and they're like, no, you mean asymptomatic.
that was a funny little play on words.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it was it was really good, and I thought these also escalated really nicely. This the second one they're saying like he's done the research and he's following the signs, and you're thinking like, oh, okay, MacGruber's turned around, and we find out like he's got a hole in his mask that leaves his like mouth and nose completely exposed, and he's asking for the materials, and he's like, give me the Ivor Metzen and the hydrochloroquine, and he's like mixing them together. So he's trying all those stupid home remedies. He's like drinking bleach.
Yeah, horse tranquilizers.
Yeah, yeah. And it comes out over the course of the second MacGruber sketch that he's got COVID syphilis, which is a strain mixed with syphilis.
Yeah, and he also has horse worms. At
Right.
one point.
He pulls spaghetti out of his crotch. It's a whole journey.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot, and it ends like as all MacGruber quick sketches do with everything blowing up. He just goes, "Hey, have you ever heard of QAnon?" And then just,
Mhm.
um, and then on the third one, he's gone even further down the rabbit hole, and we and again, like the intro implies that he's turned it around and he's seen the error of his ways, and then we when we cut to MacGruber, we see he's dressed as the shaman from January 6th.
Yeah.
and
He believes like celebrities eats babies. He
mhm,
he name checks Ellen Pompeo. It's like Ellen Pompeo is out here eating babies, and
right.
um, he believes in my body, my choice for men,
Right.
and he believes in suppressing the voting rights for alternatively skinned people.
What a way to phrase it. That
Yeah.
was, yeah, that was great. I mean, this was probably the highlight of the show for me. I mean, I thought MacGruber was just as good as it's ever been, and it was a welcome return for me.
Wow, I'm surprised because I didn't know if you were so hot on MacGruber earlier before this, but
I would enjoy MacGruber. I mean, it's such a short thing that even if I didn't like it, it's over very quickly. But no, I enjoyed MacGruber, and I've certainly had a chance to miss MacGruber on the show, so it was fun to revisit it.
yay. Okay.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say the same. Like, it's definitely. I feel like some of them may have gone a little bit too long. I thought maybe if they shortened up a little bit on some of them, they could have popped a little bit more. But overall, I enjoyed the MacGruber stuff. It's always good to see him just kind of lose his mind and go further and further down the QAnon alt right rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I did like at the end of the third one where like the bomb's just about to explode, and he says he doesn't like like the lamestream media and the cancel culture,
right.
and he mentions really quickly that he actually does like a few things on Peacock before the
A few strips on Peacock. Yes,
yes,
yes.
exactly, which of course is a nice little nod to the MacGruber show available on Peacock.
Yeah, he did have a cute line in his monologue where he's like, and I would like to announce that we're getting a second season of MacGruber on Peacock, and he's like, I'd like to announce that, but we're still waiting to hear, so we don't know. Um, that, that
Oh,
that was cute.
you got me, Forte. You got me.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, this was fun. So that was once again Will Forte, John Solomon, and Yorma Tacone. So next, what is next? What was that? Kid Clash.
Kid Clash.
Kid Clash. It's a double dare type of kids game show where you're doing all sorts of tasks and you're going through an obstacle course. And we had Will as the host and 80 as Tatum, the young contestant. And her first task is she has to find a flag in a whipped cream pie. And
Yeah. First off, I gotta say the set is incredible on this whole thing.
pretty impressive set design. Yeah, they put together the whipped cream pie, and then they had like a monkey bars thing with, it was like cheese, like melted cheese.
Yeah, hot melted cheese, hot nacho cheese underneath it, and they had like a big champagne glass with Kyle, Bowen, and Heidi dressed as shrimp.
Yeah,
Where
shrimp
e-
cocktail.
exactly, and that's
Yeah,
where 80 was supposed to go meet her family and
right.
dressed as shrimp.
Yeah, and so very impressive. I mean, it looks just like a Double Dare type show, and I mean, even the even like Will Forte's outfit is kind of 80s. He's very Mark Summers. He's got like a loud tie and a mustache, and yeah, so they really captured the 80s type of look. They even have an impressive logo for the show. So I mean,
Yeah,
very impressed with the production design on this sketch.
yeah, very much so. And I also liked how Will Ferrell had there was a couple cool lines here and there about like how if 80 completed the whole obstacle course, she would win pizza for life. And he held up a box of pizza and he said, "That's right, you win this one pizza for the rest of your life."
Right, right, and yeah, Tatum's cool with that. She's like, all right, yeah, I can't wait to get that.
Hmm.
But the joke is that she can't complete the first task. She's just uh, uh, foraging around in the whipped cream pie, the giant whipped cream pie, and she can't find the flag. And I remember I watched a little Double Dare as a kid, and they always had like this big like orange flag, and the time runs out, and she still can't find the flag.
Hmm.
And ultimately, she gets like this little flag that's like the size of like a flag that you would put in a cocktail.
Yeah. Yeah, and as she's looking for the flag, Will Forte's, guest game show host character Mark Zaz is kind of like egging her on, saying, "Well, do you not know what a flag is?"
Mm-hmm.
And well, here's a hint: it's in there.
Yeah. and he's giving like humiliating bits of trivia about her as she's doing this, and then eventually the time runs out, and then she's like, "Oh well, okay, I lost," and the twist is he's like, "You're not going anywhere. You're not leaving until you find that flag," and even her family agrees with this. They're like, "Oh yeah, she never sees things through. She doesn't see things to the finish." So they have
Yes.
they
But
they they have her. They make her keep combing through the whipped cream pie until she finds this minuscule flag.
right. The whipped cream is adversity, and the flag is her unfulfilled potential.
Yeah, yeah. This was cute. I wasn't nuts about it, but I thought it was cute. Pass the time agreeably.
Yeah, like I like the twist about
Hmm.
like how like she like where the host was like, you're not leaving that pie till until you find the flag. I don't know. I felt like it needed more. I felt like it needed maybe to go darker, or maybe they needed to
Or
get
him to
to,
get even more sadistic with it.
yeah, or maybe it seemed like it was kind of missing something. I think it needed to not escalate. I think something needs to escalate a little bit more, because like that little twist about how he's forcing her to go to that pie looking for a flag. I like that twist, but it needed to go a little bit further with it. I don't know, because like after that, it kind of, I don't know. I felt like the sketch needed more of something. It didn't, like, it was almost there to be like a really good sketch, but it kind of petered out towards the end, I thought.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it blew me away either, but I thought it was fine. I thought it was decent.
Yeah, I
Uh,
thought it was all right, but I was like, it could have been something. Could have been more. Could have been a contender.
okay, let's see. Next, I hit the second MacGruber, which we've already covered. So after that, we had Cinema Classics, Gaslight. This
Hmm.
is a recurring sketch that they do every once in a while whenever somebody on the writing staff watches a classic movie on TCM. This is from Alison Gates and Kent Sublette, by the way. So this time they're doing the classic Alfred Hitchcock movie Gaslight with Will Forte as Charles Boyer, the evil husband, and Kate McKinnon as Ingrid Bergman, who's being gaslit by her husband and trying to drive her insane for some reason. I haven't seen Gaslight, you guys. Um,
I have not. I did not know it was a real movie until you just mentioned it just now.
okay, well, it is a real movie. And we have Keenan hosting for some unknown reason as Reese DeWatt. The thing I always hate about these cinema classic sketches is I feel like they make too much of a meal out of Reese DeWatt.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, I mean, I get it because people like Keenan, and people like to see him chew the scenery and whatnot. But yeah, the whole backstory he has about his wife and all that stuff. I mean, it's all
We don't
right, but
Yeah, we don't need any of that. It's just the sketch is about parodying the movie, and just we just need like the host to set it up real fast, and we don't need to hear like the host do bits and make a big meal out of it. Yeah, that's the thing that always drives me nuts whenever they do these cinema classics.
yeah, fair enough, fair enough. But then it gets into the sketch about how, yeah, basically, Will Forte's character is gaslighting Kate McKinnon's character,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I felt like with this sketch, they were kind of hitting the same joke over and over again, and not really. Again, no escalation in this one. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, they had Chloe Fineman come in as a young Angela Lansbury, serving Kate McKinnon a pineapple, telling her it was a steak,
Hmm.
and then it just kind of goes on and on about like
I
how,
did like how he was like, "Oh, I swear on this Bible," and she's like, "No, this is a book that says How to Gaslight Your Wife by Gregory." That was cute.
yeah, that was cute.
I thought this was okay. I didn't feel like it was the best cinema classics thing they did. I mean, I love the Casablanca sketch that Kate McKinnon did with J.K. Simmons. Uh,
Mm,
that I thought was an instant classic. I liked the Birds one when one of the time that John Mulaney hosted. You know, the Birds, they just birded the man to death.
right, right. Oh yeah,
Was
that was good.
was the Sound of Music sketch that John Mulaney did with Cecily Strong, was that a cinema classic sketch, or did they just present that as is?
I believe they just presented that.
Okay. All right. Well, that's
Yeah.
a good sketch too. So you should look that
Okay.
up.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this sketch, I thought, I thought the writing was kind of weak, and the way it ended on a dick joke about her saying, "Oh, I can't. Believe you've been lying to me and gaslighting me this whole time, just like when you told me that it was 9 inches." I was
Hmm.
like, really? We're going. Look, I love a good dick joke. Let it never be said I don't love a good dick joke, but I thought that dick joke was kind of flaccid.
Wow. So that yeah. So you like harder, stronger, more powerful dick jokes.
Yes, firm, hard, and rigid. That's
Okay.
right.
All right.
Just,
Just hard dick jokes that you can rely on.
just right.
That just give it to you over and over.
It's a big old stiff joke I can wrap my lips around. Jesus.
You just horrified yourself, Darren.
I really did. As soon as I said it, I was like, Christ, why did I say that? Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, no. And speaking of wrapping your lips around big and hard things, the next sketch is threesome.
Oh, nice.
This was written by Mikey Day, Streeter Seidel, and Will Steven. This is a couple, Mikey and Heidi, and they're having a threesome with a random guy online for her birthday. And the random guy online is our host Will Forte as Gannon the Third.
That's right.
So yeah, he comes up to the hotel room and he's not the type of dude you'd want to have a threesome with, I suppose.
He's no Fred Garvin male prostitute. I'll give you that.
That was actually in my notes. I was like, my main note for the sketch was not bad, but it's no Fred Garvin male prostitute.
No. So we're in sync, John. We're in sync.
Yeah, so Gannon keeps calling Mikey Taint instead of Tate. Um,
Right.
Gannon, he's looks kind of odd. He's like he's got like he looks kind of like Goldmember, doesn't he?
Like who?
Goldmember from the third Austin Powers movie.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. I could see
Yeah,
that.
he's in this like gold sort of Hawaiian shirt. He's got like the bleach blonde hair. He looks kind of creepy.
Yeah, little bit. Shirt unbuttoned to the navel,
Mm-hmm.
as a gigolo is wont to do.
Right.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's seen some things.
Yeah. Yeah. He tries. He begins rocking the bed to see if it can handle his motion. So he starts like slamming the bed frame against the wall. He says he's taken 3 Cialis pills to just kind of get through the night. And Heidi's character is very excited by this. This is like the thing that she wanted to try. And Mikey's, as the husband, is sort of reluctantly going along with it. And we find out that Gannon's like, okay, yeah, no, I'm going to be like fighting you off the whole time. And you're going to try and join in, and I'm going to be pushing you away.
Right.
So it's less than ideal for Mikey Day's character, right there.
Yeah, like at one point he demonstrates what he's gonna do to Heidi on a pillow, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like humping it, and he says, "All right, Mikey, come in, or Taint, come in and try to inject yourself into this." And he comes in and he immediately smacks Taint in the head with a pillow.
Yes. He's like, so you're going to smack me away with my wife? And he's like, yes, I am.
If I have to.
Yeah. I did like he said, if you want to save the Shire, you've got to get through Mordor first. and everything, everything Gannon is doing and saying that should be setting off all sorts of alarm bells. Heidi's just like, oh yeah, I'm totally into this.
Yeah, I think also Gannon mentioned he sweats profusely when he's
Yes.
doing the deed, and so they have bath towels, Powerades, and a tarp for him.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you got to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then he finally wants Tate to throw a mask on because he doesn't like seeing a guy's face while he's doing his thing.
Right.
And, I mean, who does really?
Oh, not me.
Yeah. So yeah, my basic feeling is it wasn't bad. No Fred Garvin male prostitute.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I thought the sketch ended kind of abruptly too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because like I thought it was gonna like again with the escalation. I thought it was gonna go somewhere and like it had this big, no pun intended, this big climactic ending, and then it just ends with Gannon leaving because he had a mild dialysis heart attack. And
Hmm.
then he says, "All right, well, should the wife and I get going while you have your heart attack?" And he's like, "Don't you dare!" And then it
Yeah.
cuts off, and that's it. It's like I was like, "Oh, that's it. That's
Yeah, I
all."
felt like that wasn't the big laugh line at the end that they were expecting it to be. So yeah, that was too bad. Yeah, it ended kind of anticlimactically. So
Yeah, yeah. As far
like
as I'm sorry.
their,
What was that?
I said probably much like their evening did.
Hey, now there you go. But yeah, I mean, for me, the sketch was like, I don't know, it's kind of weak. Like I thought, it seemed like they had all the pieces there for it to be like a bigger, better sketch. But I don't know if they knew exactly where they were gonna take take it. It seemed to kind of go all over the place and meander a little bit. Where it was like, all right, well, is the focus that the husband is not into it and the wife really is, or like I don't know. It seems like they didn't quite know where to go with this sketch, and then it just ends it. Like
Hmm.
the fact that it ends so short, so quickly, like when it feels like it's about to ramp up to something, really kind of really kind of surprised me. I was like, oh, I guess that's it then. All right.
Yep.
So yeah, the sketch was like, this. It felt like it could have been something, but it just ends up they didn't know what to do with it, and it just kind of felt like not much of anything.
Yeah. So
Ooh, I'm a big old downer, aren't I?
you really are. You really are. I'm impressed now. Next, we have our musical guest for the week, Maneskin, who are Eurovision winners, right?
Yes, yes. They're a band from Rome, Italy. Yeah, like you said, Eurovision winners. They're a big deal in the UK, and they're kind of, dipping their toe in the U.S. waters and trying to make a big splash here.
And how big of a splash did they make for us?
Um, Pretty big. Their first song was "Beggin',"
Uh huh.
which I just found out a few minutes ago is actually a cover. I think I told you about it, and this is a cover of an old Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons song.
Whoa, that's interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah, yeah. It was like I guess it was like around like more like a late '60s, early '70s, like back when they were still doing what was his big hit? Like maybe his big solo hit, maybe "Can't Take My Eyes Off You" or
Yeah.
"Grease." Like in the later years of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Okay. Okay. Huh.
So yeah, I wouldn't have I didn't I wouldn't have seen that coming either. And the second song, I want to be your slave.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of Maneskin, which I also learned is Danish for moonlight.
Oh, okay. So that's the meaning of it. Monoskin. Yeah, they've got a little funky thing over the A, and I have no idea how to do that or even type it. Um, so yeah, that's a weird thing. I thought they were all right. They didn't thrill me in a big way. They were very they're very out there. They dress very eccentrically. Honestly, during the second number of theirs, I was like, if you told me the lead singer was like just a character of Aristotle's, I would have believed you.
Oh, thank you for this.
Yeah, it's. I thought they were all right. They didn't thrill me. I didn't like them as much as say Bleachers last week.
Okay.
What about you?
I like them a little bit more than you did. Like when I first saw them, part of me was thinking, "Oh, I don't know how good this band will be," just because they, my first impression was they seemed like the type of band where they were more concerned about their looks and clothes and makeup and presentation than they
Yeah,
were their actual music.
yeah, and I always find that a little off-putting.
Like
Yeah,
I mean, I thought it'd be like another Greta Van Fleet situation,
yeah, yeah. There's a bit of a Greta Van Fleet vibe to them.
right?
Yeah,
And I saw online some people said, "Oh, the lead singer kind of reminds them of Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction."
yeah, I can see that.
I could see that. I see a little Scott Weiland in there too,
Uh
a
huh.
little bit. It's definitely that type of vibe. And so when I first saw them, I was like, "Oh, they're probably these kind of pretty boys, pretty people who are more concerned about their mascara than they are actually about their music." But I mean, I gotta admit, some of the music I thought was pretty catchy. The bass line,
Yeah.
yeah, like the bass line on the second song, I thought was pretty. It was a little bit of little funky, a little toe tappy, and
Hmm.
I don't know. I was actually kind of digging it a little bit. It was like it was a nice little kind of glam rocky kind of I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what other bands I could compare it to. But it definitely reminds me of a bunch of bands from like maybe the '70s, '80s, and even a little bit of the '90s. I guess maybe Jane's Addiction would be the closest I could think of right now that I would
Okay.
compare it to, like a glam rocky type of Jane's Addiction. But I actually kind of dug some of their stuff. I thought it was all right.
All right. All right. Well, if there's nothing else we got about Monoskin, I guess we move on to the weekend update with
Yeah,
Colin Just and Michael Shea.
Mary McElshare.
Michael Shea.
Oh.
What do we think of this weekend update?
Um, not a bad weekend update. I actually kind of thought it might have been like the strongest thing of the night.
Hmm.
Um, well, I mean, what we have, of course, Jost and Che trading jabs, making jokes, talking about Biden's 2-hour press conference.
Yep.
About the state of the world today. It ain't great. Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we're trying to fix. And yeah, who knows if we'll be able to fix them. I did like I did like Che's line where he was saying I'd never suggest that Colin should be fired, no matter how much better Bowen would be. And they even have a a mock up of Bowen as a Weekend Update host next to Che. I thought that was very cute.
I did too. Like I felt the people at home being like, "Yeah, Bowen and Che would be great."
Yeah, that would be. I mean,
Hmm.
because I think we're getting at the point where we do need to change things up on Update, just because they are now the longest tenured anchors that we've ever had on Update. So I think we're due to change things up after this season. I think they've
Yeah,
had a
I yeah. I mean, I'm really hoping that after this season, there's like just major shakeups. I mean, there've already been a good amount of shakeups in the writers' room. I think now we need to see a good shakeup in the cast because it's like you said, like there's a few cast members that have been here a little bit longer than we like, and uh,
excuse me.
oh Jesus,
uh, uh, I'm sorry. It's
I
allergy.
you all right?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm just Keenan. Oh,
It's allergy season.
allergies. Yeah, just
So yeah, so like I do think like we need to cut the fat and like make some big changes after this season. After this season, so
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully,
I would not mind seeing that. I mean, but Justin Che, they do still make me laugh. I really like Che's line. He was talking about how uh, the he was reporting on a story that the COVID vaccine does not cause infertility, and then he just goes, "Damn it! Then why did I take this?" That
what's
made
the what's the point?
me. That was great.
I like he had a really good line about the U.S. Senate about after Kristen Sinema's
Mhm.
actions this
Yeah.
past week, and he's saying, "Oh, the U.S. Senate keeping black folks down with a quiet handshake since 1787."
Yep.
The
Yep.
audience was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yikes!"
Oh, that's too real.
I don't need to hear all that truth.
Yeah, and let's see, we had Bowen pop up as Chinese Trade Minister Chen Biao, talking about the Winter Olympics and how NBC is not sending correspondents there. And I liked how Che was like, "So are you guys okay?" And Bowen was like, "Well, more importantly, are you guys okay?" And and they were just talking about how absurd it is that they're not NBC is not going to have any correspondents at the events. And I'm not sure if that's because of budget reasons or COVID concerns or because of like a diplomatic boycott. I don't really know why that's happening. Maybe it's a combination of all three. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, I didn't even know that. Like, apparently, there'll be broadcasting out of Connecticut
Hmm.
during the Olympics. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
And
Connecticut's
Bowen is like, you know what else broadcasts from Connecticut? Maury.
they do. I thought you might say WWE as well. Like that also broadcasts out of Connecticut.
Oh, there's a lot of things that broadcast from Connecticut, I guess.
Yeah.
it was a cute segment, and I mean, I think it was mostly carried on the strength of Bowen's performance. That segment was written by Billy Domino, Sudie Green, and Bowen Yang. By the way,
Yeah. As always. I mean, I thought the material was okay. Like, especially when they were talking about, anal swabs for COVID testing. There's like,
I
oh,
mean, you're a sucker for a good anal swabs reference.
I mean, hey, I'll absolutely, I
Yeah,
mean, dude. Like, that's my bread and butter.
yeah,
But anal swabs, it's accurate and it's fun.
yeah. So this was all right. This was all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the materials is okay, but it really is on the strength of like Bowen to really sell it. And as always, he's able to sell it.
Yeah.
He's that charming and that good a personality to like
Uh-huh.
really kind of to make hay out of this material.
This Olympic judge, I would give him a 9.8.
And the dismount.
Yeah. So, let's see. Well, we also had Sarah Sherman returning to the update desk in much the same vein as what she did before, where it's basically her uh, just no matter what Colin Jost says, she's coming down on him, which I'm all about this.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, she's nominally her segment was supposed to be about staying cozy in winter weather, but she quickly makes a reference to like uh, her pubes, and
Yes.
he's and Colin just is like, well, hey, I don't care about your pubes, and she's like, this just in, Colin just prefers his coworker hairless to have hairless genitals like a blow up doll.
Yeah, I think she says her pubes are thicker than clothes,
Yeah,
which that's a visual right there.
it paints an image. It paints an image, and we find out that she's paying $200 a month to live in Colin's doghouse in the Hamptons. Um,
Yeah, which begs the question: if Colin doesn't know about that, who's she giving the money to?
I'm assuming Scarlett. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, like Scarlett probably doesn't tell Colin every single thing.
Is this Scarlett's side hustle that Colin doesn't know about?
Well, she didn't know how the Disney lawsuit was going to go, so she
Mm.
was like, "I better take care of Scarlett," and like $200 extra dollars a month is $200 extra dollars a month. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, that's true. She's a mother now. She has mouth to feed. Similac ain't cheap.
a 6-month-old kid at home. I mean, she's got to take care of that kid.
Gotta buy them Pampers.
Exactly. I liked how in one of the headlines it referred to him as Colin Jost Hansen, which that's a very clever nickname, and I can't believe that no one's thought of that before.
That took wait. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't quite get it. Just Colin. Wait, just like Chris Hansen.
No, no, we're gonna work through this. Sound it out.
Colin
Okay,
just.
who is Colin Jost married to?
Oh, Scarlett. Oh, okay. Again, another joke I didn't get until you explained it to me.
This has been the second segment of our new recurring segment. Darren doesn't get jokes until we record the podcast.
I, I, I don't. What's I got? Oh, this lockdown is really messing up my. I don't. I think I'm getting dumber.
How many times did you watch this segment, Darren?
Like twice.
Okay, and
I didn't. I can't. Listeners, call in if you also didn't get that joke. Please let me know. Please. I'm calling out to the Darren Hive right now. If you didn't get that joke, let your voices be heard. Tweet us at SNL Nerd Show or at Darren Credible. Thank you.
and tweet at us if you do agree that Darren is getting dumber because of
I'm,
lockdown.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
I love this. I want to see if we can go 3 for 3.
I don't. I want to get these damn jokes.
Will there be a joke that Darren won't get next week? Which joke do you think Darren won't get next week? Let us know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fairly intelligent person. I think. I thought.
I am loving this. I am loving this.
I got a bachelor's degree. I'm not a dum dum.
Oh, this is spectacular. Um, but hey, we shouldn't sleep on the big climactic bit of Sarah's segment where she's just clamoring for Justin Shay to make out because it's always will they won't they with you two, and when Colin is saying like no we're not going to do that, she of course paints that as him being bigoted against queer love.
Right. And then Joe says, "All right, fine, I'll kiss him." Michael rebuffs him, and then
Mm,
of course Sarah says, "Oh, apparently Colin Jost thinks being gay is a joke." And it's
right. Yeah, and I love how she always has ready made headlines for each thing because I mean just literally cannot win in this segment, and it's hilarious, and especially because Che goes along with it, and he's like, "Yeah, you do suck." It's very funny. It's Sarah just throws herself into it. I mean, Colin's such a good sport to let literally every joke be about him. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
yeah, I mean, she really just sort of injects the show with just this big burst of energy.
Mhm.
Like honestly, when she comes on the scene and she does these segments, like the vibe definitely goes up, and it definitely feels more alive probably in the studio and like on
Yeah,
the screen. It's like there's like I said, like a big burst of like, oh hey, this is all right. It's a party now. Like when
she's
she comes
giving
on.
that big Judy Tenuta, Rosanna Dana energy.
That's right.
Uh,
I
this
thought I was gonna die.
this by the way was written by Sarah Sherman, of course, with the Please Don't Destroy guys and Celeste Yim. So
Mhm.
nice job, people.
Thumbs up.
And yeah, I'd love to see this come back again. And I think they're pacing it out nicely. They waited long enough to bring this back, and yeah, if they wait a couple more months, I'll be happy to see this again.
Absolutely. And guys, next time you write another Sarah Sherman segment, make the jokes a little bit more easier to understand for knuckleheads like myself. Thank you. That's all I
Yes,
ask.
yeah, yeah.
Spell it out for me.
Make it really obscure, you guys. I want to get dinner in a third week running. Just you've listened to this podcast, so what is Darren not going to get? What references go over his head? Right towards that.
Please don't. My ego's too fragile.
And lastly, we brought back a character I honestly didn't think we'd see again. We got back we got back the guy who just bought a boat. So Alex Moffat returning as this character, but it plays into a story that's been in the news this week of Colin and Pete Davidson buying an old Staten Island ferry together, which
Yeah.
that happened. That was reported on the news, and apparently even the mayor tweeted about it.
Mhm. Yeah, this is I saw this and like I kind of did a double take. I had to like read it twice. I mean, not
Yeah.
because I didn't get it, but because I was like, "Wait, what?" It was just
So
kind
what
of
did you not understand about the story, Darren?
yeah, it was a little. It took a little doing for me
Uh,
to get the big words, but
sure.
yeah, Jost and Davison bought a decommissioned Staten Island ferry
Right.
along with a Chris Italia, who they mentioned in this little segment.
Yeah.
He's the owner of the Stand, which is a pretty big name comedy club in New York City,
Right. And they're
and
going to make it into a comedy venue.
yeah,
They're going to dock it and have it be a comedy place, right?
yeah. Well, they said like live entertainment venue. So like, I don't know if they'll have concerts there, like music concerts, but it seems like the idea is to make it like a comedy slash performance slash maybe music venue. So it's gonna be New York's hottest club.
It sounds like a cool idea. Honestly, I'd like to check it out once they get it up and going up on its feet. Yeah, it's a neat idea.
Yeah, yeah. This actually sounds pretty cool. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens with it. But yeah. So that was in the news this past week, and now it's made it on to the guy who bought a boat's radar, and
Hmm.
then we have this segment about them talking about that.
Yeah, so it's basically just a lot of jokes about teasing Colin, and then Pete comes on as the guy who just bought a ferry, which he refers to as the windowless van of the sea. Um,
Yeah, and Pete comes out dressed up like a dock worker. Like he has like a Carhartt jacket. He has a can of beer in a paper bag.
Hmm.
open, and so I'm pretty sure he was drinking beer on set. And he has like a wool hat with a cigarette in it. Like
Hmm.
he looks, he just as blue collar can be.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just another segment in Pete's long running character, guy who doesn't give an F anymore. A guy who's phoning it in on SNL in an amusing way.
Right. I mean, he even says it. Like basically, he makes a joke about it where he
This is how I found out that New York had a new mayor.
yeah. And Joseph was like, "Wait, what do you mean? We did a sketch about Mayor Adams last week." And Pete was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't see that. I'm out the door as soon as my part's over."
Yeah, which yeah, that it sounds very convincing. Yeah,
Yeah, that tracks. Hey, Kim needs him.
yeah. This was cute. This was cute. Probably the best use of the guy who just bought a boat. I like I said, I was not expecting to see this character again. This character had kind of worn out his welcome for me, but he was amusing in this, and Alex and the other guys, they were obviously having a lot of fun with this. So and that translated to the audience, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, you could see Pete was like just giggling throughout the whole thing,
Hmm.
just kind of losing it. I mean, I don't know if he was half in the bag or what, but like, he was definitely getting the giggles throughout.
Hmm.
Alex, I always like Alex because he's able to do this rapid fire dialogue and make all these jokes
Right.
really quickly. But even he, I think, towards the end of the segment, was just kind of resigned to just it being just a cool hang type of moment with Colin and
Hmm.
Pete. And I thought it was fine. Yeah, I dug the segment myself.
And they are like they are clever puns. I will give them that. I mean, he's talking about like here's how you turn your tight end into a wide receiver. And, I mean, they're clever, sleazy puns. So yeah, this was written by Anna Dreesen and Alex Moffat, his own self, by the way. So
Oh, I thought Anna Dreesen coming through with a little guest writing.
hmm. Hmm.
Very nice.
So So yeah, that was update. So a pretty solid update. I think the clear highlight for me was the Sarah Sherman segment as I stumble over her name.
Yeah, no, people are really liking her. She's like a breath of fresh air. Like I hope she gets
Mhm.
more. I mean, like she's in a few sketches here and there. Like last week, she was in the formal prom commercial,
Right.
and so like whenever she's on screen, she definitely pops. So hopefully,
I feel like she's doing okay. I think she's having a pretty good first season. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm worried about her. I feel like she's on decent ground. I think James Austin Johnson's on decent ground. I would be a little worried about Aristotle and definitely Punky Johnson because I feel like they haven't quite made their mark yet.
yeah, I would agree with that. On this, no Aristotle, no Punky on this episode. No Chris Red, no Dismukes, no
No, just Mukes. Yeah,
no Dismukes, no Melissa. But yeah, like I don't. I mean, but all Dismukes, I think he's on more solid ground than most of the cast
yeah.
members. But
Just Mukes, I think, is doing okay as well. So
right, but yeah, I would agree with you. It seems like Punky is kind of hasn't found her footing yet, or just
yeah,
hasn't broken through like she wants. And yeah, Aristotle. I mean, I'm gonna give him a little bit more time because this is his first season. So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I mean, he did have the Angelo sketch, so that's something.
Hmm.
So, like, I think I don't know. I'm hoping he'll break out a little bit more and have more stuff to do. I would say I'd be a little bit more worried about Punky than Aristotle. But yeah, they definitely need more stuff to do on the show.
Yeah, yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Next, we have Jackie and Clancy. This is recurring sketch. This is something that Will Forte had done before with Kristen Wiig, I'm assuming.
Yep.
This, written by Dan Bula and Kent Sublette. I know Taron Killam was very enthusiastic about this sketch returning.
Oh,
He,
he loved it.
yeah. So
Yeah. This has all the 10-to-1 vibes you'd ever need in a 10-to-1 sketch.
yeah, we had Keenan introducing it as Jevner Keebler-Elv, and he introduces two singers played by Will Forte and Kristen Wiig. So she's doing like a live thing since the MacGruber stuff is pre-taped. And they're playing Clancy T. Baglaret and Jackie Sinad, and they sing country music songs about the four things they know best: spaceships, toddlers, Model T cars, and jars of beer. So,
Yeah, so so all the songs are just variations of those four things. Like I got into my Model T and hit a toddler, and while I was drinking my jar of beer, like it's all insane ramblings with those four things in place.
yeah. It's bizarre. It's thoroughly weird. It's very quirky. I mean, it's kind of what you expect from a Will Forte joint. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, it's funky. It's different. I wasn't my favorite thing, but yeah, it's kind of what you want in the 10-1 slot.
Yeah, I mean I didn't take too much notes about this one. I just well the one thing I wrote was at the last song they did where it was literally just ended up them screaming straight up for like they were like doing like some national anthem and it just ends up with them going ah 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 for like I just wrote down pure madness. What is happening here? This is just
Yep,
it's just raw uncut insanity right here.
yep, yep.
Yeah, so it was like songs like Salad Bar Boogie, Pool Trip Tango. At one point, they're talking about, toddlers going to hell and
Hmm.
how God has, he's well connected. It was just a lot of just, this is just madness. I can't make heads or tails of this.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It was a lot. I mean, although I will admit, I got a kick out of at the very end where Jevner Keebler said in order to get the CD, you have to, mail him a self-addressed stamped envelope, and his address was a 36 Donkey Donut Court at Pickle Tits, Delaware.
I do like pickle tits Delaware. That's just a great turn of phrase there.
Right. So yeah, shout out to everybody in Pickle Tits.
Pickle tits Delaware. Yes, we love pickle tits
That's
Delaware.
right.
We love
Thriving,
yeah,
thriving metropolis.
thriving metropolis. Yes. Um,
Mhm.
and that was the last official sketch of the night. We had the last MacGruber sketch after this, of course, but we already covered that, so this is the last one we're covering. And they did have a cut for time sketch, ESPN First Take.
Right. This one had Chloe Fineman, had Keenan, had Chris. This was Chris Red's big moment, and Chris Red's playing Stephen A. Smith, and
Mhm.
Chloe Fineman and Keenan are playing two other ESPN commentators. And I mean, it's basically. I mean, I get what they were doing because, like, basically, they were. It's a joke about how ESPN is like so high energy, so early in the morning, and how they're just like right off the rip, just screaming
Yeah,
about their sports opinions. And Chloe Fineman is there trying to calm everybody down, saying, "Hey, people are just having their coffee. Maybe let's bring it down a bit." And
we've
it's
got another hour, 58 minutes. You can like ramp up to this. And
exactly.
yeah,
Uh,
I watched this just before we started recording. Ugh, I thought this was horrible. I was like, I'm glad this was cut because I'm not an ESPN viewer, so for me, this was just people shouting. Um,
Uh, yeah, I'd agree. It's kind of and like once you get the joke, they kind of beat the joke over and over and over again. They don't. It
mhm,
doesn't really escalate. The one laugh I got out of it was when I think Will Forte was talking about Tom Brady and how amazing he is. It's like he's amazing. He'll conquer us all. The man eats planets. Like I got a kick out. That's I got a kick out of that because as a nerd, I enjoyed a good Galactus reference.
I think I was kind of disengaged by that point, so that didn't register. I think by that point I was like checking my Facebook profile. Uh,
Ooh.
so
Yeah, I think he did say like something like, "Oh, he eats planets," and I thought
yeah,
that got a little laugh out of me. But yeah, it's I thought the sketch was like, yeah, I'm kind of glad they cut this out because it's kind of kind of spinning its wheels here, where it's just repeating the same joke over and over again. That really going anywhere. And if unless, I mean, sure, if you watch ESPN and you're a big ESPN watcher, you might get more out of this. But since you and I don't, we just get what they present us in the sketch, and it's not
Yep.
anything to write home about.
Yeah, that was pretty much my reaction. I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I see where they cut that. So
Good move, SNL.
good move. I concur. So yeah, so that was a show. What did you think about the show overall, Darren?
Overall, I thought it was all right. Wasn't as strong as I was hoping it'd be.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Was it you were hoping to see that they didn't give us?
Maybe Tim Calhoun.
I would
Uh,
have a little Tim Calhoun.
yeah, yeah,
Who, yeah, that was such an odd character, and yeah, I wouldn't have minded seeing him again, like in an update segment or something.
yeah. I'm sure maybe Falconer or maybe even like Jeff Montgomery would have been nice. But
Falconer
yeah,
would have been nice to revisit. That would have been a lot of fun. Yeah,
would have been. But yeah, like I felt like all the live sketches weren't didn't quite hit like I wanted them to. A lot of them felt like they were good premises,
uh huh.
and they could have gone in a lot of different directions with them,
Hmm.
but they just didn't go in any of those directions. Like Kid Clash and the Three Way. Like I felt like the bones are here. They could have done something really cool with this, but it didn't. It just kind of peters out and ends, and it's like didn't quite reach the potential I was hoping. Um, but yeah, other than like the monologue, which I liked, and the weekend update, I thought everything else was kind of so. So I
I
don't know. I
liked
thought,
the
yeah,
update. I thought the MacGruber was solid as it's ever been, and I thought Sarah Sherman's segment on update was pretty great. So I'm pretty favorably inclined to this episode. It did
okay.
have some low spots. It did have some dead areas, like we said, but um, I don't think like expecting every sketch to be gangbusters is necessarily a realistic expectation. So if you do like two or three great things, I'm pretty happy. You know,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
easy.
maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe also the fact that like it was Will Forte coming back. He's a former cast member. He knows how the show works. So maybe I was expecting like the new crew, the new cast members to be a little bit more comfortable around him, and like it'd be more of like a loosey vibe, and they would have like stronger jokes and like a better overall sort of not upper vibe, but like more high energy or going throughout. Like maybe that's why I expected more, just because he's a former cast member. Usually when you have a former cast member come back, people are like, "Oh, this is going to be great! I can't wait to see what they do." And I don't know, like this didn't maybe the expectations are a little bit higher, but
Yeah,
I mean, for the most part, I thought the sketch was. I mean, I thought the show was like it was all right, but it didn't meet my high expectations. I actually thought last week's episode was better than this one. The Ariana DeBose episode was better than this one.
I think I like this one a little better personally,
Hmm. Okay,
but you do you.
I will do me. I
Yeah,
will do me.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
and
You want to see what the folks on the Twitter sphere had to say?
actually, we should also mention at the very end of this episode there was a title card put into place over the loss of a former SNL writer.
Oh, that's right. Yes, John Bowman, who passed away in 2021, apparently.
Hmm.
So I guess there was a delayed word getting that there. Yeah, he wrote for SNL in from '88 to '89, and went on to co-create Martin.
How about that?
So that's not too bad. And he
Yeah.
wrote a
Uh,
lot of other shows. I don't have his CV up right now. Do you have anything on?
well, I believe he also wrote on In Living Color as well, another big sketch comedy show. He was on there for a while, and then he wrote a few episodes here and there for it's Gary Shandling show. I believe Murphy Brown, the Hughleys. So he was a bit of a big deal, as they say.
That's an impressive career. No two ways about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we lost him in December of 2021. So rest in peace, Mr. John Bowman.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Well, we do have a few Twitter comments about the show. So let's see what our SNL nerds listeners had to say. Firstly, we have John Ananias at BurtonS92 says, "We got Forte back. When an alum returns, I tend to prefer seeing them fit into the show as it is now, play off of cast members who came after them. Some will say we saw too much of Kristen Wiig at the expense of newer cast, but do you think we saw a decent blend of old and new?"
Hmm.
Yeah, I think we did. I don't think that Kristen Wiig was overused because we really just saw her. We saw her in the monologue. We saw her in the pre-taped MacGruber segments, and then we saw her in one live sketch. And I think that was a good amount. I don't feel like she overshadowed Will Forte, which is good.
Yeah, like I feel like maybe you could say that about like other times, like when Maya Rudolph would come back as
Hmm.
Kamala Harris, and then she would end up in another sketch throughout the show, or maybe when uh what was it? Oh yeah, there was that the Rami Malek episode when they had Daniel Craig on and in like two sketches,
Yeah,
and he wasn't even the host; it was Rami was the host. So I mean, maybe you could say that about that, but yeah, I don't think Kristen was like all over the place or all over the show.
yeah. If she
Um,
was in anything else, or if they'd done like one of her characters, yeah, then she would have been dominating. But no, I felt it was good, and she was such a regular part of the MacGruber sketches. It made sense to have her there. I think, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So
The same way Ryan Phillippe because he's like on the show and he was in the movie.
yeah, and he was a nice surprise,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I guess he wasn't there. I don't know. We didn't see him at Good Nights or anything, so
hmm. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Um,
Maybe he
but
just came in for one day of the week.
maybe. But yeah, I mean, as far as the mix of old and new goes, it's always a tricky thing because like when you're an old cast member coming back to the show that you worked on for so long, but there's all these new people there. It is kind of, I guess it's kind of like going back to your old high school in a little
Hmm.
bit, where the building's the same, but the people are different, and maybe the vibe is different, and these younger people have different sensibilities. So where your old school sensibilities sort of jive with what these kids are doing these days. So it's always like a weird way to sort of try to find the mix between the two. And I think for the most part, I think they've found it. It's just like I just felt like maybe the writing wasn't as super strong as I would have liked it to been in a lot of these sketches. I'll say that.
Okay, fair enough.
Hmm.
Fair enough. Next, we have Mikey. That's Mikey with two E's, who says, "I'm a sucker for old cast members hosting, so loved most of this episode. Surprised we didn't get a Please Don't Destroy sketch with Forte, though, unless cut for time. Weekend update segments were all decent, Sarah's especially. Agreed. However, is it me, or do a lot of the recent sketches not escalate high enough?" I think Darren definitely agrees with that.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. Like I've said. I mean, I pretty much that's all I said this episode. But yeah, like the escalation needs to happen in a lot of these sketches. It's not just you, Mikey E. It's not just you.
Okay. Let's see. Next, we have from Boardman Gets Paid at Liho the Lion, who he he he, uh, he was nice enough to tell us how to properly pronounce it. It's Liho the Lion. I think I prefer Lee Hot He Lion. I think that's kind of a cooler way to go. I think maybe you should consider that.
Yeah, Leho, maybe Lehot, the he lion.
Yeah,
That's pretty sexy.
that's pretty kick ass, man.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there. He says, "Hi, y'all. So I usually wait, but I had to wash the MacGruber sketch. I'm assuming you mean watch, unless you found it just too damn dirty."
Filthy sketch. Filthy sketch.
And turns out he was sprinkling breadcrumbs for like 15 years. LOL. Also, my name is pronounced Liho the Lion. LOL. Love you guys. Can't wait to listen in. So, well, thank you very, very much for that, Liho. Can
Yeah.
we call you Liho? Let's call you Liho.
I'd rather hot he lion.
Yeah, I like Hot He Lion too. So, yeah, we may just go with that. We may just ignore your wishes. I
That's
don't know.
right. Yeah, screw whatever you want. It's about what we want.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like if you look at some of the old MacGruber sketch, you could always tell he was kind of he had like maybe not the most progressive of views, or but they're always played for laughs. It's not like he's
Yeah, I
totally
mean, the one constant with MacGruber is that he's always an idiot.
yes.
So I think him going deep into all the QAnon stuff. I think that was perfect for him, and that was a really fun way to bring him back.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, what do we have next?
Uh, Next door.
Next door. All right, let's do it. Next door says, so just found it disappointing. Will didn't seem to want to do 2022 sketches with 2022 cast members, and I'm not the biggest Wig fan, so and
Hmm.
trails off.
Interesting.
Um, hmm. I don't know.
I
I
mean,
mean, I think when you have an old cast member come back, you got to expect them to bring back at least one or two of their old characters. So,
yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, as far as him saying he didn't want to interact. I think I've seen this online quite a bit where people say he kind of didn't want to do, or he wasn't in a lot of sketches with a lot of the new cast members. But I mean, I don't know if that, I mean, he was in the Kid Clash sketch with 80, and he was in the Cinema Classics with Kate and Chloe. So I mean, that's not
right.
totally true.
Yeah, and he's worked with. I mean, didn't his time overlap with Kate and Edie? I mean, were they on the show 12 years ago? Probably not. Yeah, they were. I think Kate's maybe in her 10th season.
Yeah, this Kate has been there since 2012. No, her
Okay.
yeah, Kate 80 and Cecily were all came in at the same time. So they started at 2012, but I think Will Forte was out by then, right?
Okay. Yeah. Well, he said he waited 12 years to host the show, so that math works out. Okay. So yeah, it's just I don't think of any of them as new cast members anymore. Um,
Mm.
just because they've been on the show for so long, they're senior cast members at this point.
Yeah, no, they're vets. They're vets.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we could have, I guess, seen a little more of him mixing with the new cast members, but I don't know. I didn't feel like anything was missing personally, but
Yeah, I think it was. Oh, of course, he was in the three-way sketch with Mikey and Heidi.
hmm
So
hmm
that's three sketches he was in. I mean, they're newer
yeah,
than Kate 80. So,
hmm
hmm.
yeah,
But
they've been like 5-ish years, I guess. So
yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
yeah, all
and
right.
oh, also, hilarious Titan tweeted at us
Mhm.
saying, "Given the spirited performance of the band, I am making the assumption that the post party was quite a banger."
I hope so. I don't know if they brought back the post show parties or if they're still staying away from those because of COVID.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you can party with like a face shield on.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I would say they're probably still staying away from that, which is too bad because I mean, it's got to be such an adrenaline rush to do the show. No matter how the show went, good, bad, indifferent,
Mm,
uh, it's and it's got to take you a while to come down from that. So I think
yeah,
the post show party would be very helpful for that.
that's true. And I will give Maneskin or Moneskin that their live performance was really lively. Like the bass player was just jumping all over the place, and the guitarists like they were moving up there.
Uh huh.
It was pretty fantastic.
Yep. Yep. So yeah. So all right. Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts with us, folks. It's always good to hear.
Ooh, sorry, I had to mute my mic and cough a little.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm okay. I'm good. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So next week, SNL will be back with another new episode with Willem Dafoe, the Green Goblin, his own self, and Katy Perry.
Yeah, like I mean, when we found out about this, I was like, oh, Defoe. Wow, like he's one of those actors where I never would have thought of having him on as a host on SNL, but
Mhm.
as soon as they said he was going to be on it, I was like, oh yeah, he would be good on. He would be very interesting because he does have that kind of oddball energy,
Mhm.
like a Christopher Walken or so, and like so I it'd be interesting to see how how that jives with the SNL cast and how they write for him.
It's going to be fun to see his goofier side because he's generally a very serious actor. Marvel movies aside, he does like art house stuff, like The Lighthouse with
Yeah,
uh, with Robert Pattinson, which I have not seen, but it looks very art housey.
it's in black and white. It's art
It's in
house.
black and white. They have beards. Um, I'm assuming a foreign language is spoken at some point. Probably not too many pumpkin bombs being hurled. Uh, that's my definition of an art house movie. do they hurl pumpkin bombs at any point in time during this movie?
If they don't, hey, art house.
Art
Right.
house.
But I mean, he has been in some funny stuff. I mean, he has a few funny lines in, Spider Man. He's been in a good number of Wes Anderson films, which
Oh,
always have a tinge of
that's
humor to them.
that's true. Yeah,
I'm looking through his filmography right now. Aquaman. He was in that.
there's an
Uh,
Aquaman. Yeah, there's Volko. Yeah.
yeah. He's in the new, I guess, Guillermo del Toro film, Nightmare Alley.
Oh,
So
okay. Cool.
probably they're promoting that.
Mm.
Yeah. Everything else is like straight up drama.
Yeah, yeah.
Florida Project,
It's more
Murder.
serious than not, I would say. I think
Yeah.
that's a assessment.
Yeah.
And Katy Perry, she's been on the show a few times. I know. I'm not sure how many times offhand, but always nice to see her. It's probably been a while since she's been on the show. I think.
I believe the last time she was on was about 5 years ago.
Okay.
So, but yeah, she's been on quite a number of times. I think like the last time she was on, that flossing dance was just starting.
And she's hosted as well, right?
I believe so. I'm looking up right now. Of course, the first thing that comes to my dirty mind is the Elmo shirt. But yeah, I believe she
Yeah,
has hosted.
she was on there was that. Yeah, she hosted in 2011, and she's been the musical guest 4 times. So yeah, so she's got quite an SNL pedigree at this point. So yeah, it'll be nice to see her back.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks like this will be her 4th time as a musical guest. The SNL wiki already has next week up on her profile. So
Oh, all right.
this is like you said, this is her first time on the show from since 2017. So yeah, so she's due.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm okay with Katy Perry. I think she's all right. She's a fine pop star. But I'm more interested in Willem Dafoe just to see how this is going to shake out because like it does happen like usually when they have like a actor who's more known for their dramatic chops and like they're able to sort of write and write sketches for them. We do see them in a different light after they're able to show their comedic chops a little bit more, like Adam Driver or uh, what was it, Liev Schreiber. Where they're like, oh, they're actually pretty funny. Oh, they could actually do a little comedy here. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So and yeah, I expect her to mix in at least one sketch at some point. So that'll be fun to see.
Yeah, should be a hoot.
Mm-hmm. So all right, well, that's it for this week in the SNL Nerds news. You can always follow us on the Twitter sphere at SNL Nerds Show. And yeah, let us know what you think about the show, what you think about the upcoming episode, what jokes you think Darren is not going to get. And
Yeah, and
just
as
tell us
always, you
what's
can
going
follow me
on
on
in
Twitter
your
at
life.
Darren Credible. Twitter and Instagram.
We never
That's
talk anymore.
DARI Incredible.
Darren,
Hey,
you
John?
still there?
I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm here. You're kind of breaking up there towards the end.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll do that bit again. Okay. So you can follow us on the Twitter sphere at SNL Nerds Show and just tell us what you think about the upcoming episode. Tell us what you thought about the last episode. Tell us what jokes you think Darren is not going to get, and all that fun stuff.
And as always, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Darren Credible. That's DARI Incredible.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Trumbull Comic. That's TRUMBULL and the word comic.
Absolutely. And
And you can also Follow us over at Non-Productive.com, and you can also contribute to our Patreon over there, and that helps us keep the show going. And please, if you like the show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or the podcast app of your choice.
Absolutely, please do. Give us money. Give us all the money you got. This is a stick up. Help us help you. Help us put some money in this little project of ours, and help our little tree grow. Help it reach up high to the heavens.
Yeah.
With your help and your support. Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right. So we'll see you next week with Willem Dafoe and Katy Perry. And until then, nerds out.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.